The last video, video 3 in session F, in fact, the last video of the whole training course is just a little discussion around adapt and change. So, I mean, session F is around how long will this last, which is a little bit like how long is a piece of string, but there are things that we can do in terms of managing our expectations, and adapting and changing is something that is vital for longevity in advantage play and value betting. Sitting on our laurels and expecting that the same strategy is always going to be profitable is a dangerous thought process for the advantage player. And there's a couple of reasons why. But let's have a look at this news article quickly here that was very recent to the recording of this video. This is Yahoo News. Here, an Essex man has been jailed over £236,000 gambling fraud against Bet365. It's quite a poor article, by the way, because I did a little bit more research into this story, and the reason he was jailed, actually, the main reason was that what would happen is he would deposit into Bet365 using multiple different aliases. If the bet wins, he's in profit. If the bet loses, he issues a chargeback, and it was the issuing of the chargeback that was actually the reason this guy got jailed. He was in a no-lose situation. But actually, if you read more into the situation, he was in a double no-lose situation. So here we see that this chap appeared at Basildon Crown Court. He was part of a syndicate which created online accounts to bet without the limitations placed on a single account. He therefore collected bonuses to which he would never otherwise have been entitled. The enterprise dated back to 2008 and involved 1,000 online betting accounts, and throughout the fraud, it was estimated that he received £236,000. People willingly gave their details over to Howard. So what this chap has done is he's got 1,000 betting accounts, and he has collected bonuses against Bet365. Now, the bonuses going back to 2008 were about £200 per sign-up. So this guy has pretty much just used 1,000 online betting accounts to get the sign-up offer. He would presumably lay it off and then rinse and repeat, and that was it. So the sort of traditional matched betting, sign up, get the bonus, back it on something. If it loses, you've laid it off, you've won on the exchange. If it wins, you have got the money in Bet365 and you can withdraw from there. And also if it lost, he issued the chargeback. It's absolutely extraordinary to me that this chap did not have the ability to adapt and change, because there are people who have profited more than £236,000 from a single Bet365 account. The amount of money that it is possible to make from a Bet365 account, if you are able to adapt and change beyond the simplest of methods of attaining a sign-up bonus, is enormous. And whilst it's unfortunate that this chap has gone to prison, although the chargeback probably warranted that kind of jail time, what's even more amazing is that if he'd sat down and actually done a little bit of study and learned how to move on from just profiting from a sign-up bonus, he would have found that the high-hanging fruit, the real valuable stuff, is pretty attainable for anybody. Here's an example of something that we were doing in the past that we are not doing anymore. The great sports offers at William Hill, I think I've mentioned them a few times throughout this training course. If you walk into a William Hill just now, you might see a screen like this. There's perhaps 25 buttons on the bottom of the screen. For a long time, William Hill were running 25 daily great sports offers, the GSOs, the great sports offers. They ran them for a long time, and sometime in the early 2010s, mid-2010s, we realized that a couple of the 25 were pretty huge value, and there was a reason why they were pretty huge value. William Hill made them quite complicated to work out. this is an example here. Over 15 goals in the first 30 minutes of today's 16 times French League 2 at National, Norway Elite, and Obos, Swedish Allsvenskan, and Super and Belgian Jupiler matches. Right, so you've got to get all of those matches and work out what the expected goals are in the first 30 minutes and then find out if over 15 goals is value or not. 22, 23 of them would be bad. 1 or 2 of them would be good. And over time, we realized that we could set up a community where we would have people going into the earliest opening shops at the beginning of the day and taking a photograph of all 25 of these. The photographs would be sent over, and then we would have various databases set up where we could run through all 25 offers in about 30 to 60 minutes, work out the value, and work out the 2 or 3 that are good. When they were good, they could be 150, 200% EV. Some days, none were good. Some days, 4 or 5 were good. So we ran into a little bit of an issue with the ones that are good, and that is that they went on quite a long winning run. And we made a significant amount of money. But as we made money from this, it's very difficult to have an edge this big and keep a lid on it. Eventually, an edge like this is going to get out. And as it became more popular, people would, identify that perhaps offers 6, 18, and 21 were value, and they would send that to their runners. And the runners would send that to their mates. And all of a sudden, we might have one account at Bookie bashing, and we might tell them that 3 of these 25 offers are good value. And all of a sudden, that information from that one account gets out to 100 people. There was no real way we could keep a lid on it. Back in these days, by the way, we were £10 a month, and some people were profiting thousands of pounds a day from the great sports offers. Eventually, William Hill tried to limit the damage that we were causing. First of all, they tried to bring the stakes down to maximum £25 because previously, they were accepting £500, £1,000 per shop. Eventually, they just got rid of the offers. For them, they were too difficult to work out. Their staff couldn't work them out. A lot of the traders couldn't work them out. We could work them out. We had an edge on William Hill there. But unfortunately for them, they were so complicated, they themselves couldn't work them out. Now, as we were doing these, we knew they couldn't last forever. They were too big. And the problem was too many people were betting on exactly the same great sports offers. We couldn't limit the barrier for entry because it's quite easy to tell one person the 3 or 4 that were plus EV and really good value, and she could just send that information on. So at the time that we were doing it, we knew we were on a limited timescale. Similarly, those guys doing the hole-in-one offer, they knew themselves that wasn't something that was going to last forever. So they knew that they had to hit it as quickly as they could, because when it was gone, it was gone. So there's an element here of adapting and changing, meaning that what we're doing today to make money is not going to be what we do next year, with certain caveats. So here are the things that should be around long term. Horse each-way betting doesn't look like it's going anywhere in the UK. It's too ingrained into the national betting psyche. I'm sure the bookmakers would love to change the place system where the place represented a more accurate representation of the probability of the horse finishing in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, where it wasn't tied to the win price. I'm sure the bookmakers would like it, but it's too ingrained in the betting culture of the UK to make that change. They would lose too much money from the losing punters. So it's not going to go anywhere. And whilst it's not going to go anywhere, there will always be edges in each way horse racing, and we will always be able to place these plus EV horses into multiples, into doubles, trebles, Trixies, Yankees, Hineses. It's not going anywhere. Another thing that's not going anywhere is each way betting in golf. That's not going to go anywhere. In fact, if anything, it's just getting better and better as the bookmakers try and one-upsmanship each other with offering more places in the majors. I mean, when you're getting 12 places in the US Masters, when only really 50-odd golfers have a shout, it's nearly a case where you could put a blindfold on and throw a few darts at that tournament, and with absolutely no analysis or thought process, you could be on some plus EV bets. Things like looking at the top price across an odds comparison service and really just targeting outliers. That kind of strategy isn't going anywhere. There are other types of edges that we might be sitting on a limited time frame for. Things like free bet bonuses, things like sign-up offers. In my opinion, those types of bets might disappear due to the proliferation of exchanges and of match betting. And it's the tragedy of the commons. They've self-imploded by getting too big, by getting too popular, although they probably couldn't keep a lid on it, but too many communities sprung about. Things like working and pricing stuff up ourselves, that's not going anywhere. However, perhaps arbitrage opportunities will disappear one day, because you can't think it's too much of a stretch of the imagination that bookmakers' IT systems become strong enough that any time, any price dips higher than the price available on the exchange, that there is an automatic cut from the bookmaker. I mean, to be fair, the systems are so good at identifying people that are undertaking arbitrage opportunities that there's no longevity in that game either. So, look, if I look at my past where I've been betting, really the only three things that are consistent over the last decade are football coupons, horse each way betting, and golf each way betting. Other than that, every year I'm doing different things, and some of it works out to be very profitable, and other things work out to maybe be a little bit of a thin edge. And it's kind of always the case that anything that is very profitable, such as, you know, the great sports offers, such as another edge I was doing was betting over goals in pretty obscure leagues around Europe, around the world. And there was some huge EV bets across different bookmakers in that market. And that's kind of dried up as, you know, we took them for a considerable amount of money until they learned to price it up a little bit better. And that was going to happen. We knew it was limited shelf life. Going into shops on the self-service betting terminals, the SSBTs, there are often markets that are a little bit obscure to work out, but they're grouped markets where they say, you know, there's going to be under 5 draws in the Premiership today, or over 3 draws, or under 6 home wins. Those kind of grouped bets, we found an edge on the SSBT where the under was always huge value. They were just setting the under wrong. Their mathematics were wrong. And anyone, I think a lot of the recreational players like to bet the over, so they probably didn't get hit or damaged particularly because the amount of recreational money was on the over. Recs like to bet overs, we just know this. But the under, I mean, almost in every single bet was good, and you could put them into doubles and trebles. That was a strange one. That didn't go away, mostly because despite the fact that they were huge EV, we're talking 150, 200% EV, they went on a long, season-long losing run. You see, great bets can still lose. And because the bookmakers weren't losing money, they didn't really care. It's only really when they're losing money that they notice. Which brings me full circle to the point of the last video here, adapting and changing. Once we have found something successful, we want to profit from it. And if it's a plus EV bet, sooner or later, we will be profiting from it. Once we stop profiting from it, we're going to be putting a little bit of damage into the bookmaker's bottom line. They may not notice it for a long time, or they may notice it almost immediately. But as soon as they notice it, that is when the risk comes to us that they're going to close down that particular avenue of income stream for us. So don't sit on your laurels. Adapt and change. Be ready to move on to the next edge, to the next way of pricing something up, to the next technique as soon as the one that you're currently sitting on has disappeared. What are you doing today? That's great. I'm glad it's profitable. Don't expect that you're going to be doing it in 12 months' time. The only thing we know for sure in advantage play and professional betting is that the environment moves so quickly, we have to move quickly with it. A lot of people aren't prepared, like our friend who got jailed, to move on from the simplest of simple money-making techniques. And if you're unable to move on from that, then long-term or even medium-term advantage play value betting isn't for you. So that brings us to the end of our training course on advantage play and value betting. Hope you found it interesting. If you did, come visit us at bookiebashing.net. Even if you haven't signed up, you can go over to How It Works and take a look at some of the videos that showcase the 20 to 30 live trackers and tools that we have. And if you think that you have the mindset for advantage play and professional betting, then we have the trackers and the tools and the databases that will assist you with your journey to profit from the bookmakers, from the exchanges, and from the betting shops.